I started using social media when I was just 8 years old. I had accounts on Snapchat, Instagram, and even Kik. What began as something fun quickly turned into a daily habit, and over time I realized that I was changing how I saw myself, how I felt, and how I connected with others. Social media significantly impacts the mental well-being of young adults, contributing to anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and even addictive behaviors. I care deeply about this topic because I've experienced the side effects of social media firsthand. I've also spent time researching it to better understand how it's shaping people my age. Today, I'll inform you about the psychological effects of social media on young adults. First, we'll look into how it affects mental health. Second, we'll explore how these platforms are designed to influence user behavior. And finally, we'll talk about long-term psychological consequences researchers have discovered. Let's begin by exploring how social media affects mental health in young adults. Social media use is strongly linked to negative mental health outcomes in young adults. Many young adults experience anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem that are closely tied to how they use social media. For example, constantly comparing ourselves to others online, whether it's filtered selfies, vacation photos, or highlight reels, can lead to poor self-image. We start to feel like we're not good enough or not doing enough. Another common issue is FOMO, or the fear of missing out. When we see others hanging out with us or without us living their exciting lives, it can make us feel left out, inadequate, or even isolated. According to a study published by Cyber Psychology, Behavior and Social Networking, increased time spent on social media networking sites is linked to decreased life satisfaction and increased feelings of loneliness. Now that we have an understanding of how social media can harm our mental health, let's look at what these platforms have such a powerful effect on us. Social media platforms are deliberately designed to be addictive and influence user behavior. These apps aren't just fun coincidences, they're built to hold our attention. Features like infinite scrolling and algorithm-based content are designed to keep us scrolling longer. For the more we engage, the more ads we see, and the more money that these companies make. Notifications are another example. They're not just reminders, they're engineered to trigger a dopamine response, creating habits that loop us and pull us back into the app again and again. In a Netflix documentary, tech designers explain that these apps are built to manipulate your brain like a short slot machine. They know exactly how to keep you clicking, liking, and refreshing. Finally, let's explore the long-term consequences of social media, especially for young people like us. Research shows alarming long-term effects of social media on youth mental health. Heavy social media use has been linked to rising rates of depression, anxiety, and even suicide in teens and young adults. Constant exposure to online content can increase stress levels and reduce the quality of our sleep, and over time, this affects our ability to concentrate, cope with challenges, and manage our emotions. It can also interfere with real-life relationships. When we rely on social media for validation and communication, we can lose touch with important coping skills and meaningful in-person interactions. According to a psychologist in an article for the New York Times, today's teens are experiencing more mental health problems than previous generations, and social media is a major factor behind that trend. So what can we take away from this? Today I've informed you about how social media affects mental health, how these platforms are intentionally designed to keep us hooked, and what the research says about long-term psychological influences. When I realized how much social media was affecting my own confidence and anxiety, I decided to take a break, and honestly it helped. I felt more present, less anxious, and more in control of the time I spent. We all use social media, it's a part of our lives now, but it's important to be aware of how it might be shaping our minds and set healthy boundaries when needed. Thank you for listening.